Who's got an idea on what a death doula does?
It sounds.
Crystal does.
Oh,
I'll share.
That's an idea, Crystal.
someone who helps people plan and prepare for their death.
It sounds to me as if it's someone who helps the actual process of death, makes it easier for the person.
Good. Colleen?
To me, it's someone who lovingly and compassionately goes to the end of the road with you.
Mhm.
And yeah, that's how I feel.
Lovely,
I would
thanks.
agree.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I
Sandra.
learned that it is physical, emotional, and spiritual guidance and assistance to a patient and their family.
And that person does not have to be a medical professional.
Correct.
Sandra.
Yeah, to me, what I've noticed is a death doula is someone who supports the person in their journey, but a lot of that support is helping them process and kind of accept and process where they're going, and also sometimes even helps facilitate conversations and wishes with family members, because that can be hard for the person who's ill.
Yeah.
It's the subject that nobody wants to talk about.
Yeah.
We're changing. We're changing that one conversation at a time.
Yes, you are.
Well, since they all know what we do, I guess our job is done here.
I don't know
See
about
y'all
that.
later. No, that's great. That's awesome.
Okay, before we move forward, can you see the screen? Your
Yes.
slideshow? Okay, great.
Yes.
So
Sorry, I'm just gonna, Connie, on some of these slides, I'm gonna have to point to you because the words slide in when you hit the enter button.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry about that. I don't know what's going on with the technology, but anyways, next. There we go. Okay. So let's we'll give you our quick overview of what death doulas do, and then we'll get into the rest of the program. So death doulas, we are non-medical, we are non-legal, and we are non-judgment people who supports the client and their people when there's an illness or terminal diagnosis.
So as an example of this, it's helping people to gain comfort with the uncertainty that comes with illness, and maybe helping them to define some questions or some things that they have concerns with or that they need to learn more about.
We educate and advocate and empower clients by starting conversations about the end of life process and about death early.
And so, you know, a seasoned death doula will tell you that they want to talk to people when they're healthy and they're young, because the sooner we have these conversations, the better, with respect to creating awareness about options and choice and advocacy and personal agency with respect to what may be important to us.
Mm-hmm. And we help to improve the quality and dignity of the end of life journey.
Yeah, and we do this through conversations, through helping to ease a comfort and acceptance of our shared mortality, whether we're with terminal illness or we're healthy. The acceptance of our shared mortality helps us to be in a position where we can more comfortably explore those things that matter most to us in our living and in our dying. And it also enables us to be in a position to have the important conversations with those people who we want to support us and how we want them to support us, as well as advocate for ourselves within our healthcare systems.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So we also help with end of life planning. We help with the planning by working with clients to develop clarity as they discover their beliefs and what they value and wishes for the foundation of their own advanced care planning. We explore the client's wishes around comfort for the body, around their environment, and discuss any readings or rituals that they may want as alternative or complementary therapies to what the medical system is offering. We help them to become clear on who they want with them, how they want to be treated, and things that they would like to avoid by using this wonderful tool developed by our friend Chelsea Petal of Circle Space, and it's called My Personal Comfort Plan. We also talk a little bit about digital legacy planning and how to have courageous conversations.
We also focus a lot on advocacy and facilitation. And so for some of this is about advocating for family and caregivers and loved ones with the care team and health authorities, and helping clients to have the courageous conversations about their wishes. And so this advocacy, in fact, is actually somewhat like healthcare navigation, because we will support individuals in navigating the healthcare system. And so this advocacy can be helping people to get clear on what questions they want to ask, preparing for appointments with specialists or doctors so that they make sure that they get the information that they need to make informed choices about options and treatments. We advise clients on the rights of a patient, as well as what they can expect in hospice and palliative care, the guidelines and the commitments to that, and what the health authority guidelines are. We help them to really understand what's available to them within their healthcare system and how to navigate that system, which can be very complicated and overwhelming. So through all of it, we really take on the role of a healthcare advocate in a navigator in this area with respect to advocacy and support.
Okay. We need to have the little gong like we had back in school. Next slide. Just pop all the words up, Connie. It makes it, there you go. Thank you. Okay. We also provide local resources such as referral to lawyers, notaries, estate planners, or funeral directors. There we go. We talk about alternative therapies such as yoga, Reiki, sound therapy, acupuncture. We talk about comfort resources. We can help the client with the forms and the processes. We can help them with the most and the expected death in the home form, Edith. We talk to them about the process for medical assistance in dying, let them know that it's an option should they choose to explore it. We will refer them to their local health authority MAID team. We provide communication tools such as the BK Books series written by Barbara Carnes, RN, who has wonderful end-of-life planning, end-of-life books. We also use the Death Deck and some of the products from Willow End of Life. We provide information about local hospices, about palliative care and bereavement resources. And we can also recommend some books or videos that they might be able to watch or read. And yeah.
And then another element of what we do is the thing that people think of most often, I think, when they first imagine what does a death doula do, and this is the companioning, the comfort wishes, and the vigil. And so this is about the opportunity to offer time. So within a healthcare environment, whether you're in a hospice or whether you're in a hospital bed, the staff and the volunteers that work there only have so much time. As a doula, you have contracted time, which means you have more time to really build meaningful relationship and really gain a true understanding of who the individual is beyond just a patient and their disease. And you really get to know the family and the dynamics of those relationships as well, so you can best support them. So what does that look like? It could be visiting, it could be listening, it could be just simply being present. Oftentimes, this is where the work happens for the individual with respect to gaining comfort in their own mortality, with gaining acceptance of their disease, with gaining an understanding and appreciation for the fact that they do have choice about what things can look like for them. There's a lot that they lose control of as a result of disease, but there still are some things that they can navigate and they can lead even to the end, as long as they are given the opportunity to work through the process. This can be through conversation, be exploration. Oftentimes, in my experience with clients, this is prompting. You know, they start with a question and I say, have you considered X? And then that just opens the door for all kinds of conversation over a period of time. Reading and sharing sometimes could be the thing. Reading passages from favorite books or poetry, or it could even be sharing resource information and educational information. So, but Joe talked about BK Books. Barbara Carnes has an excellent series called the End of Life Guideline series. And I've sat with clients and client families and read portions of these booklets to help people gain a good understanding quickly and easily about what's next and what choice they do have. Sometimes it's about comforts. It's about leading meditations or supporting them in accessing alternative therapies. It's about ensuring that they're getting what they need that makes them feel comfortable. So if someone has a favorite blanket that they like, but nobody has brought that to them or realizes that that's important to them, I can be the voice as the doula in making that happen. Doula kit magic. So we, in our doula training that we do with our membership, we have a doula kit list of things that can make a difference for how someone feels. And sometimes all it does is really just helps them to feel seen and heard and acknowledged as more than just their disease. And then sitting vigil. So some doulas will sit vigil themselves or work with a couple other doulas to do this vigil in the final days or hours, can be 24 hours a day. My approach to this is helping the loved ones actually create a vigil team of individuals who deeply care about the person who's dying, who have a deep trust and connection with one another. And through the course of time, I teach them before vigil is necessary about what to expect and how they can show up in that space. So I feel that I lead from behind. That's my approach to this work. I lead from behind, not from the front, in helping to enable individuals with knowledge and information to do this themselves and feel the confidence that they can do it. Others do it differently. And either way is great, depending on what your client need is. And then some doulas will take care of household chores or shopping or running errands just to help alleviate some of that burden. So it can be quite broad what we do around that section. Yeah.
We also get into a little bit of bucket list and living legacy work. We can help with creating bucket list experiences. They're small. When a friend of mine was dying, she said to us, you know, I wish that we could still go out for beer and chicken wings on Wednesday nights, because that's what we did almost every week. So what we did was we brought the beer and chicken wings into her living room, and we all acted like we were out at the pub. She absolutely loved it. I have pictures of her eating them and this happy little grin on her face. Doesn't have to be a great big thing to be a bucket list experience, but it can make the world a difference to somebody. We also document living legacy. There's some tools out there that we've used. I've done a living legacy using my phone, and the video actually came out very well. And you know, I gave the lady an outline of things that we could talk about. In the beginning, she said to me, at that time she was 92. She said, "I don't want to talk about my childhood because it wasn't that great." I said, "Okay, we don't need to do that." I gave her the outline of kind of where we could go. The next time I met with her, she said, "You know, I started thinking about my childhood because of the questions you asked." And she said, "And I remembered there were some really, really good experiences. So now we are going to talk about that." Changed her whole recording. We can do a little bit around Swedish death cleaning, which is, you know, downsizing, giving things to people while you're still alive. You know, if you've got a nice vase that I want to give to my friend Karen, well, I want to give it to her while I'm alive, and I can give it to her as opposed to waiting until I die. We can also help with celebrations of life. I've done a living celebration again for my one friend with the chicken wings, and I'm currently helping with 2 post-death celebrations, just putting the slideshows together for them, helping with the music and helping the family just work through those processes. So that's part of things that we can also do.
Yeah. Before we go to the next part, Alex has asked us to touch a little bit more on digital legacy planning. So can we just talk about it right here? Because we're talking about living legacy. Yeah. So digital legacy planning is really about your digital life. And so that's, you know, your Facebook accounts, your Instas, your TikTok, your shopping accounts, your bank accounts, every account, every persona that you have online. And chances are it's much bigger than you actually imagine it to be. And so this is your digital legacy planning, making sure that you have a definitive plan about what happens to all of those accounts, who's going to shut them down, who can shut them down, what's needed to be able to do that. So Facebook, as an example, has an option now that you can go in and you can identify your essentially your legacy planner. So when I die, Joe will have right to my Facebook accounts, and she will be the one that will shut down the ones that I want shut down, and maybe maintain a couple of my business ones if I want that, if I've made the decision that those business legacies and that business intellectual property is going to live onward in the digital world. But these are things that are more than just, I have these accounts and this is my password. It's really about giving thought to what you actually want to have happen with those accounts and how, and then who are you going to assign to manage that? That's
And you know,
essentially it. Yeah.
yeah, and the Facebook one, those kind of accounts are really important. My mom died in 2014. And I still get notices on when her birthday is because we weren't able to shut down her account. You know, things like that can trigger some people. So you can have somebody take care of your accounts. That is
There is a really great book out there called The Digital Legacy Plan, written by Angela Crocker and Vicki McLeod, and it's excellent because it's published by Self Press, but it also has within it a whole bunch of spreadsheets and worksheets that can help you to really narrow down how you want this to look for yourself. It's an excellent resource, just specifically with your digital legacy work.
Yeah. Okay. So if we can move to the next slide, please, Connie.
Sorry.
Thank you. No worries.
Yeah. So, and then there's final disposition and pre-planning. And so what is this? Well, we call this after death care and preparation. You know, it's things like cremation, burial, green burial, recomposting, aquamation now is one thing that's available in some areas of the country and also in the US. And so oftentimes we will hear often people say, oh, I'm just going to be cremated. And then the reasoning behind that has nothing to do with their beliefs or their values. It has everything to do with money. Right. And so I don't want a big traditional funeral because that just costs way too much money. You know, funeral homes rip you off. So I'm not doing any of that. I just want cremation. And if cremation really aligns with your values and your personal beliefs, then that's an excellent choice. But if it doesn't, then a doula can help you in the process of really getting clear about why you feel this is important, what other options could be available to you, and making so that you can make decisions and choices about after death care that better align with what really matters, as opposed to just the pocketbook. Not that the pocketbook doesn't matter, but just ensuring that, you know, it's also in alignment with what you would ultimately wish for yourself. Things to consider are caskets or shrouds. And so before I got into this work, I would have never imagined this idea that I would have been buried or could be buried or even cremated in a willow basket or shrouded as opposed to a traditional coffin. There's a lot of options out there that people just are not aware of that can make a significant difference in how they feel about how they're taken care of after death. And then, of course, service and celebrations. And these can look so many different ways now. It's why we have people like Christina Andriola, who's from New Narratives, who's out there actually helping people plan end-of-life celebrations that are like events as opposed to the traditional funeral service that we typically, you know, sort of align with or think about when we think about services or celebrations of life. And then sometimes too, you know, it could be for the family says, oh, well, dad didn't want anything, so we're not having any service. And so, you know, I personally, you know, my dad was like that, and I refused to let that be with my mom and my brother. I said, we're doing something for dad. It's not going to be big and elaborate, but we had a gathering because that gathering was for us. And because I believed my dad deserved to be honored. So all those things. And then we help with referral and resources. This is the resource component. We have so many resources and information on options and choice on so many elements of this area that people have no idea about. And then the other thing is that we do is we work along with the advanced care planning and all of those pieces is what we call the I'm dead now what, or the ready to go binder. And so this is helping you prepare all your paperwork, getting everything in order, putting it all in one place, making sure somebody knows where it is, making sure you've had the conversations with your medical representative or your medical proxy, wherever you're located, whatever you might call it in your region, but really helping you to be organized and prepared. This is the absolute best gift that you can leave your loved ones. And doulas do some great work in helping you to get this stuff organized.
Okay, and some doulas provide grief and bereavement support. They provide that during the end of life journey, and they talk about ongoing loss, anticipatory loss, death, and post-death losses. So anticipatory loss is, for instance, if somebody has dementia or Alzheimer and they start to decline and you're really losing that person even though they're still here. That's anticipatory loss. We provide tools and support to help navigate the grief journey, as well as local referral references for grief and bereavement support. And support groups, usually with the local hospice. I know our hospice in Kelowna here will offer 8 free sessions with a trained counselor, grief counselor, whether you've utilized the hospice services or not. The only qualification is you must have suffered some kind of a loss in the past 12 months. So check with your local hospice. Okay, that's it, Connie. If we can stop with the slideshow, please.
Okay.
You're
And so
earning your money tonight there, buddy.
And so you can see that there are many different ways that a doula can help and assist. But what does the work of a doula really look like? So we've told you the what, but what does it really look like?
I don't know how to turn it off.
Just stop sharing.
Oh, right.
Oh my goodness, this is why we ask for grace. Okay, so we're going to walk you through a little scenario now. We'd like you to get comfortable. I don't want to do that. Hold on. There we go. We'd like to get comfortable in your seat. Close your eyes or lower your gaze. Okay, this is a story about you. We want you to consider what you would be feeling and thinking about as these events happen to you. We'd also like you to keep in mind and consider these questions. What makes your life worth living? What do quality of life and comfort mean to you? And what are you willing to go through for the possibility of more time? So keeping those questions in the back of your mind, here's the scenario. It's a warm summer day, and you've spent a wonderful afternoon with friends, having lunch and going for a nice long walk along the creek. You're feeling good about yourself and about life in general. You come home and you sit down on the couch and you put your feet up and you realize that your lower back is throbbing. You hadn't done anything strenuous over the past few days and think all you need to do is adjust your position on the couch, and you continue to squirm and shift positions, but nothing helps. After some thought, it occurs to you that, your back has been sore for the past 4 or 5 weeks or so, and you just haven't paid attention to it. You've brushed it off thinking that you're just imagining it to be something it's not. You find that evening that you cannot sleep much tonight because of the nagging pain. Over the next couple of days, you apply heat and ice, try some stretches in an effort to alleviate that lower back pain. But despite your efforts, the pain in your back continues, and it actually worsens. The fear about this pain begins to affect other areas of your life. You start to feel anxious and worried. You call the doctor and you're given an appointment 3 days away. You're worrying more and more. And then on the 3rd day, you find yourself in the doctor's waiting room.
Doulas can help you prepare questions for your doctor's appointment and develop a history of your pain prior to attending.
You feel nervous. Your senses are heightened. You notice everything in the room, the ticking clock, the receptionist clicking her pen, the worn out magazines, the fish tank gurgling air bubbles. You realize that you're really feeling anxious, but you tell yourself that you're making a big deal about nothing. When your name is called, you jump a little bit. Your heart is beating faster now as the doctor asks questions about your pain and how long you've had it. And you realize more and more how long ago this pain started, yet you had brushed it off, saying, oh, it's probably nothing. Doctor has a look of worry on his face. He goes, but we ought to do some further tests just to be sure. And I'm going to schedule those for as soon as possible.
So here is where your doula can go to the doctor's appointment with you. So with a doula there, they would have had extra eyes, extra ears, and the opportunity to take notes for you.
Doctor says that you'll receive a call from the hospital to arrange for further tests, hopefully soon. So you get into your car, and on the drive home, you wonder, what does hopefully soon mean? And why did the doctor look worried? And so you begin to worry.
A doula can help you with this worry. They're an individual where you can have a conversation and debrief your experience in the doctor's office, where you can talk about the things you might be concerned about. And they can help you with some coping mechanisms and some strategies that will get you from here to what's next.
Monday morning, the hospital calls to arrange an appointment for an MRI first thing the following morning. And you're told that a blood test is needed as well. Well, this concerns you because you only saw the doctor last Thursday. This is Monday and they've already got the test scheduled. You try to keep your mind off of what might happen, but no matter how many other ways you try to distract yourself, you keep coming back to the pain in your back that is worsening. As these things run through your mind, more loss, more fear occur. Tuesday morning, you report to the hospital, bright and early at 8:30 a.m. as directed for the MRI. You didn't sleep very well last night, and you're tired and you're cranky. You choose to go to the hospital on your own because conversation exhausts you, and the thing you don't want right now is for someone to tell you what you should do. So you tell yourself, I'm sure it's nothing, but deep down you wonder and you worry. The rest of the day following the MRI seems to drag on, and you wonder what the next steps are. And the worry is growing inside of you.
Your doula can be a place where you can hold these conversations. They'll hold space for you. They'll allow you to express your fear and your concern, and also what you hope for. They'll help you to get clear about what matters to you most, and provide you with some tools so that you can help you to navigate this healthcare journey.
2 days later, around noon, the phone rings. It's the nurse at the doctor's office, and she said, hey, are you able to come in at 3:30 today? She said, the doctor wants to speak with you. Fear strikes you deeper this time, and you worry about what sort of news it is that the doctor can't talk about over the telephone. Slowly, methodically, you prepare to go into the doctor's office.
Again, this is where your doula can help you to prepare for this appointment and can attend with you. So they can help you prepare with questions, help you to do some work to navigate and manage your emotions and your anxiety. And then they can attend with you to ask the questions if you don't feel capable of asking them, to listen, because you won't hear everything, and to take the necessary notes. And a doula will know what's important to you because you'll have talked about that beforehand, and so they can help you navigate this really important conversation with your doc.
The pain in your back is still there, and you feel it's grown worse just this past week. Deep down, you know something is terribly wrong. The doctor's examination room is colder this time, and it feels more sterile. The doc examines your back, and you sense he's trying to find something specific, and he lets out a and asks you to dress, and he'll be back shortly. As you sit waiting for the doctor to return, your heart begins to beat faster and your legs feel like rubber. The doctor comes in, sits in a chair next to you, and the words you have dreaded to hear are finally spoken. I'm afraid I have some bad news for you. The results of the MRI indicate, well, you can't remember all the doctor says in the next few minutes, but the words surgery, radiation, and chemotherapy stand out. You thought you could take this bad news. You thought you'd be strong, but now loss, grief, fear, anxiety, and loneliness all have a new meaning. You regret coming to the appointment alone. You ask the doctor to write down the diagnosis. In the elevator down, you read what the doctor wrote. Pancreatic cancer, stage 4, and your breath catches in your throat. You decide to only tell those people who are very close to you what is happening.
So your doula can be there to help you, to plan for these important conversations with these important people, the ones you've chosen to tell. And they can offer support to your people, to aid them in their understanding and how they can support you. And then you have the opportunity to be able to debrief these conversations with your doula, to talk about what went well for you, what was discomforting for you, and how you can move forward.
Back home, you realize how tired you are, and you cozy up on the couch with a nice beverage. You take some time to reflect and take stock of the last few days, and you have a feeling of dread in the pit of your gut. You start thinking things like, I'm too young for this, or I have too much living to do. I'm not prepared to die. And you start to reflect on your life.
And so here's where your doula can help you to reflect on your life, to help you to recognize and acknowledge your purpose on this earth, to tap into your heart, to become really clear about your values and your wishes and your beliefs and the who and what matters most to you, and also help you to do any legacy work that feels important to you as well. This is an important part of the process in really being able to gain acceptance and comfort in your mortality.
You suddenly realize that you haven't done any type of end-of-life preparation, and you start to panic about that as well as your disease. So keeping your eyes closed, give some thought to what makes your life worth living. What do quality of life and comfort mean to you? And what are you willing to go through for the possibility of more time?
Doulas can help you with your advanced care planning. This is encompassing your medical care, your comfort care, and all of your wishes for health and personal care.
You realize that you've started losing weight and that you're eating less. Nothing seems to taste good anymore, and your tastes change daily. One day you love blueberries, and the next you can't stand the sight of them. Cravings, they come and go. Although no one has mentioned this to you, it is okay not to eat. You need a different kind of energy now, a spiritual one, not a physical one.
So this is really important too. Doulas here can help educate you about the dying process, can help you to better understand what actually is occurring for you within your body. And they can provide resource material and supports that will help to alleviate your fear and enable you to plan for the expected.
Your family and friends are helpful. Too helpful, as a matter of fact. You really don't want them to keep calling and checking on you, despite the fact that you realize that they love you and they just want to help. You think a lot about, well, what if? And how would your family make ends meet if you are really sick? And I may even be dying.
And so if you haven't already, a doula will have resources and referrals that they can connect you with financial planners who can help you in sorting out your financial position at this point in time for your family, if that's important to you. They can talk to you about your after-death wishes with respect to burial and cremation and help you to make a plan.
A tear comes to your eye. Life is really precious. Your family and friends mean so much. Over the next few days, the pain in your back worsens to the point where you have to have a close friend drive you to the emergency room where you're given pain medication and told that they wanted to keep you for further tests and observation. The following day, the oncologist introduces himself and explains that you're in end stage of the disease. He says that they could try a mixture of radiation and or chemotherapy as a proper course of action with no guarantees, but with a possibility of extending your life. You've not been given any indication of whether or not you're treatable or how long you may have left to live, but you feel your body is declining and you know within your heart that you are actively dying.
And so here your doula can help advocate for you by asking the tough questions and by getting the frank answers, which oftentimes our healthcare professionals, our doctors and our specialists aren't necessarily the best at delivering. And so a doula can help you to gain that clarity with respect to true prognosis and true implications of treatment. And they can be a liaison and almost an integrated part of your care team.
Once the pain's been brought under control, you're discharged from the hospital with orders to continue your medication and come back if the pain gets worse. Money is a problem, sure, but it's a stress you can hardly have time to think about. What with all the appointments, the medications, the adjusting to having good days and bad days, things are different now, and it's hard to realize that so much of your life has changed in just a few short weeks.
And so again, your doula can be present to listen, to hold space, to lend an ear, and help you navigate all of the emotions that will come with being here. Providing a safe space where you can say and feel anything without judgment or expectation. And as a doula, we've both heard some pretty harsh things come out of our mouths, other people's mouths, that aren't meant to be heard by anybody else, but need to be released from the individual.
A month goes by. The friends that were so supportive at the time of your diagnosis are strangely silent now. It's not that they dislike you. It's just that they avoid you, like your disease was contagious or something. And while that saddens you, it provides you with a sense of relief as you are becoming more and more withdrawn.
And your doula can provide the support and the help that you need to understand this grieving process, both for yourself and for your people, what it means for you and how your people are feeling and why they tend to stay away.
A few more weeks pass and you know somehow deep inside that you're not getting any better. The doctor has stopped all treatments today. He tells you that they've worked as well as they can, but you wonder if he isn't just abandoning you because there's nothing left for curative medicine to do.
So your doula can provide you with information about alternative therapies in the event you want to consider those. They can help you to communicate with your loved ones about the circumstances and the situation, and they can assist you in planning and preparing for your final weeks and days, where you want to be, how you want it to feel, who you want with you, living celebrations or gatherings. Doulas can help to make your final weeks, days, and hours better than they may have otherwise been, and then help to ensure that they align with your beliefs, values, and wishes, helping to create sacred memories at end of life versus fear and regret.
So take a long, deep breath in, hold it, and then let it go. Take another deep breath in, hold it, and then let it go. Remember to breathe. Keep breathing. With each new breath, sense your energy, sense your health. You are here. You're alive and well. You're whole, and you can return to the land of the living things and living people. So when you're ready, open your eyes and come back into the awareness of the group.
And so this exercise is over, but at some point, whether later tonight, tomorrow, or this week, we'd like to really encourage you to think about the thoughts and feelings you've had. We hope that this exercise helps to demonstrate how a doula can help support in a difficult time, in areas that maybe you hadn't really thought about before. When you reflect, you may grieve a little of what you lose, for relationships built up over time, for possessions and pieces of the world around you that will be taken without permission. And remember that now is the time for you to live life to its fullest, to embrace the things and people who are most important to you.